Good afternoon, students. In continuation to the sessions that are getting held under BOS for your success, we are here to welcome you all on today's session on Intermediate Paper 7A Enterprise Information Systems. My name is Sukriti Arora and along with me is my colleague.
Good afternoon, students. I'm Dr. Jyoti.
Okay. So we are here to discuss about how you can appear and perform well in your examination, which are about to come. No doubts, October is a month of festivities and we are more or less in a mood to enjoy. But at the same time, being a CA student, you will have to gear up yourself for the last minute revisions that are very, very important and play a crucial role. By this time, most of you must have completed your course, and now how do you recapitulate those concepts and present them in the examination matter the most. So here we are going to discuss and share some of our understanding on what are the level of expectation of an examiner from you and how you can very well present your answers and fetch the good marks. So welcome again, and without wasting much of your time, we will start with the technical discussion and we would welcome the queries, if and any you will have. We will be more than happy to take those, but we will try taking them somewhere in between or maybe at the last of the session. However, if any queries would get unanswered, you may please always contact us. That number we will share in the end, or the email ID, which is eis-inter@icai.in. So now we shall switch over to our discussion. So as we are here and we are aware that paper 7A Enterprise Information Systems is of 50 marks. And we do know the pattern. The MTP pattern is based on the exam pattern itself. So all of those who have appeared in the MTP 1 might be knowing that the paper is of 50 marks and it's divided into two parts, which is MCQ part and descriptive questions. The MCQs carry 15 marks, whereas the descriptive questions are of 35 marks. Now those MCQ portion, if we talk about, it's further subdivided into 10 marks and 5 marks, wherein we get to have one ICS, that means the integrated case scenario. Now this integrated case scenario means that we are going to have a particular case wherein we are going to discuss lots of concepts which are based on different chapters of the study material. So the case that is going to be here will not solely depend on a particular chapter. Rather, it will be an amalgamation of different concepts covered under different chapters. So they will have few questions based on that on that case scenario, and you are supposed to answer those. And if we are saying that these are the MCQs, at the same time, if the answering of those is easy in terms of writing, because you don't have to write anything here, but at the same time, it's going to check your analysis and application skill set. So if you have gained a thorough understanding of the subject, then only you will be able to make an understanding that this particular topic belongs to which chapter. And then once you zoom into those details, then only you will be able to answer the question. So this MCQ part, which is of 10 marks, is based on the case scenario. So one case scenario we will have and certain questions which are based on the case scenario. And here the questions which are going to be based on the case scenario will be of 2 marks. And the remaining 5 marks, they are the independent questions which will be of 1 mark each. So if we see, we have 15 marks in total dedicated to the MCQ portion. Now if we come to part 2, which is descriptive questions, we have one compulsory question which is further subdivided into 2 parts, and each of these parts, they are of 3 and 2 marks respectively. And then we have further question 2 to 5. So we will have 4 questions here, out of which you will be given a choice, wherein you will be supposed to answer only 3 questions. And each of this question will be of 10 marks. So this way 5 marks compulsory here and 30 marks here. So if you actually see, this is a compulsory set, which is part 1, And this also is a compulsory set. So out of 50 marks, 20 marks paper is compulsory for you to attend. So you will have to have a good understanding. Now sometimes students, ma'am, come and they ask us, ma'am, we have not studied for the subject, and can you please guide us which is the most important topic or something? Because
this is the general query that we receive.
This is one of the most favorite questions that students keep on posing to us. Now here we would like to, clear the air that there is no such thing wherein we can clearly tell that this is important chapter as compared to other, because this is a skill wise and section wise weightage of marks. It's very much there on the institute's website, wherein we clearly mention that each of the chapter holds the equal weightage, which is 15% to 25%. So now if you see, that means the coverage is consistent. So it's the range which is given there. So if suppose 8 marks questions are coming from chapter 1, then 12 marks question will come from say another chapter. But it won't vary much because the range is consistent, which is 15% to 25%. So herein you can see that we can never be saying that this is a chapter which you need to emphasize more, or this is a chapter which you can afford to not study, because ultimately it will end up not attempting the paper. So kindly give a thorough understanding, prepare your notes and prepare all the chapters equally well, because ultimately it's going to have the full coverage, equal coverage rather, from all the chapters.
So here I would like to mention, student, as ma'am has given you the description about the paper, so you can see the 15 marks MCQ part is you can score very well because you have been given option over there. If you have thorough understanding of the subject, you can choose the right option and you can get the full marks into that, because there is no need to explain anything in MCQ. You just have to put the right answer.
And there is no negative marking also.
Yes.
So the options, but yes, at the same time, one has to be very thorough. Why? Because the options sometimes are so close that one gets to get confused.
Yes.
So you have to have an understanding, and there are certain words, keywords, the technical terms. You need to know the differences between the two, because the question that will be there, the options are going to be so very close that you may get confused. So you have to build up an understanding, and once you are through, then getting these 15 marks is just a normal stride for you. It won't be a problem in any way for you. So now if we have to see, first of all, you are very well aware, but just to give you a brief recapitulation of what all publications are going to be relevant, because you might have been using September 2021 edition of BOS study material. Then to prepare for the MCQ part and the case scenario, kindly go through with the case scenario booklet, which is January 2022 edition. Then RTP for November 23 is very important, wherein we give a case scenario and then you have certain questions chapter wise. So once you are through with a chapter, you can attempt the questions based on those chapters. Then mock test paper 1, which is already over. And then the mock test paper 2, which is an upcoming, which is going to get started from 3rd of October. So all those who have prepared well, rather all those who are still preparing, they can also appear for these mock test papers, because these are very, very crucial for you to get well prepared for the examination. And then our live learning classes, it's been through. So you can always access those lectures through your mobile app. And then we have the capsule and referencer for quick revision also. We have all these things available on our institute website. Once you go and access ICAI.org, you can go to the BOS Knowledge Portal. And here, click here to visit BOS Knowledge Portal. And here you get to have the access to the study material. You have access to the subject-wise capsules, the referencer that we are talking about here, enterprise information systems and strategic management. So it's available here, and one can just quickly revise all the concepts. I think this is the study capsule for our enterprise information systems, and here we have given almost all the crucial topics and the brief understanding of those. So once you are thorough with your syllabus, you can always refer to these capsules chapter wise so that it will just give you an idea and brush up your concepts. So this is how you can access all of these publications and you can refer to these. Now, just a quick revision of the chapters, that what all we cover. Why am I doing this? Here we have the chapter wise coverages. What we have covered, these are all there available on the website and the study material also. That suppose this is the chapter 1, automated business processes. What all is covered under this? Why do we give this? The very purpose of giving this kind of a pictorial representation is that once you start with a chapter, you have a fair idea about what all am I going to discuss or going to study under this particular chapter. And the moment you are through with a particular topic, you can just keep on clicking yes, yes, or tick mark. And once all the ticks are there, that ensures that you have covered the entire chapter. So it's always beneficial for anyone, for any student, to prepare a kind of a checklist for yourself wherein you just cover the major headlines, and once you are through with those headlines, that means it will ensure that none of the topic is skipped, because every topic plays a very, very important role when we specifically talk about the MCQ portion. So here, chapter 2, financial and accounting systems, it's there on the website that we have covered integrated and non-integrated system. These are there in the start of each chapter in the study material. Business reporting. So all these topics you are very well aware of. The only purpose of giving this is to give you a broad understanding. Chapter 4, we have these topics. E-commerce and M-commerce is one part, whereas emerging technologies is in another part. So what all emerging technologies we have? Virtualization, grid, cloud, and mobile computing. So suppose there are say 7 or 8 computing technologies. So once you are through with every topic, you just keep on ticking. And once all the ticks are there, you are knowing that you are through with the chapter. And likewise, suppose cloud computing, then another further sub diagrams. Suppose cloud computing, it's just telling you a cloud computing topic is there. But when you discuss about cloud computing, it's further having the headings like characteristics, advantages and drawbacks, then the environment, then the service models are there, issues related to cloud computing. So these are the things which one has to be very, very clear, because it will give you a clear and bird eye view that what all is there and what all I have to do, so that you can plan your studies, you can pick up the pace, that this is a lengthy chapter, I need to pick up the pace, or what all is getting covered under this chapter. And likewise, we have it for chapter 5 also. So once this is understood, what is the coverage, we shall now think of covering the certain tips and tricks that we need to share with you, because we are here and we are here to share some of our understanding on how you can improve upon the presentation part when you are in the examination hall. How do you need to write the answers? That's very much important.
So here I would like to one thing, that as ma'am told you that how you have to go with the each and every topic you have to take, but also try to solve MTP RTP questions from the same. So one query we have from Mr. Ankit Kumar Pandit. So I hope ma'am has given the answer of your query. He asked, ma'am, I have completed lecture, completed one reading of ICAI material, but still not getting confidence. Please guide me, ma'am.
Ankit, reading is one part, but to my understanding, reading you might have understood, but there are few things which you might not have been able to capture in your mind. So when it comes in capturing the concept, because if you are explaining me, if I'll explain you something, okay, well understood, but understanding and presenting it in the examination are two different things, right? So if you are thorough with the concept and if you give at least 3 readings to a particular chapter, then on reading only, you will be able to, accumulate a lot of things in your mind and you will be able to present them. Now, when I talk about the presentation part, there the main gap is the students are aware of the topics. They are very, very thorough with the concepts. But when it comes to the presentation part, and our education system is such that how you write will fetch the marks for you. So ultimately, you will have to present the answer in a way which makes sense, and at the same time you will have to write the answers that commensurate with the weightage of the question. Sometimes if I'm very thorough with a particular topic and a question comes under that, for example, the question comes for say virtualization, and if I'm very very thorough with that topic, no matter the topic, the question is of say 2 or 3 marks, I will start explaining it, and then I will write 2 to 3 pages or maybe 1 page. But at the max, how many marks are you going to get for this? 2 or 3 marks, which is allocated to it. But unnecessarily, we are wasting our time. And the topics that are there and the questions, we will not be able to do the justice to those particular questions. So, the very first thing that you do, these are the tips specifically for answering the MCQs. And likewise, we will be discussing some more tricks when it will come to the descriptive part. So, when we have to give the answers or appear for MCQ portion, you will first of all, as I've already been discussing, that make your own checklist of each chapter covering all the major topics, because here, no matter in MCQ, you don't need to write or give the answers in detail, but it would check your analysis skill set. So you will have to have a thorough understanding of almost every topic, because the question would come from any of the topic that is there in your study material. So you will have to build an understanding, and that you will be able to do only when you prepare your own checklist. And once you do it, then you keep on ticking, like I've been telling this, and to ensure that you complete the entire course chapter wise.
Because in MCQ, there is a one point I would like to mention, ma'am. Yeah. Because say first question is from the chapter number 2. Yes. Another may come from the chapter number 3. Yes. So you immediately have to shift your mind from chapter 2 topic to the chapter 3 topic.
And first of all, to have to build an understanding that this question is from which topic.
Yes.
That also you will have to apply your mind, because you might have read say 100 concepts in that subject, but then out of those 100 concepts, only 5 are going to get checked in your examination. So you do not know which 5 are going to be those. So once the question is there, then you will have to zero down on the chapter first, and then you will have to zero down on the topics, and then you will have to get the answer to it. So this is how you will have to do. And for this, the booklet that is there, it will help you a lot. There are almost 25 plus case scenarios and 100 plus questions. So they are going to be more than sufficient. If you're thorough with your preparation part, then you can do the revision from those from this particular booklet that I am talking about. Then a thorough understanding, I have been emphasizing, there is no shortcut in MCQ. In descriptive questions, one does, get to have some idea what kind of questions come, which are the important topics. But then in MCQ, there is no such thing. Thorough understanding will only help you. There is no shortcut for you to prepare for the MCQ part. And then obviously avoid rote learning. You will have to build an understanding. So when the choices are there, you will be able to get the answer. But then an understanding has to be there. Simply just mugging up the headings without understanding them, you will not be able to match that particular heading, because sometimes the questions comes and it's only the application of a definition. Still students are not able to.
So this is a question, ma'am, generally we get from the student. Ki, ma'am, I have written the question but won't get the marks, because they do rote learning and they write heading only part.
Yes.
They don't do descriptive
questions. And when it comes in the descriptive, they have to write the headings. But when the headings are there, because they are not aware of the headings, in MCQ you will only get the headings. So they are not able to match what is going to be the exact thing which is going to come under a particular key term. Right? So to make you understand, we will discuss one case scenario. It's a part of the MTP also, the one MTP that we have already conducted. So I'm sure that you might have attempted this question and you are very well aware about the case. But still, for those who have not attempted, and just to give you a brief and brushing up the case, I will just read out the case scenario. And at the same time, I would like you all to participate in answering these questions. And we would wait for say 10 seconds for you to answer. And then we will explain the correct answer with the logic behind it. So a Mumbai-based company called Unique Glass Global India Limited. Now one gets confused. Oh my God, what kind of a case scenario would it be? How much detail would it require? But then it's just a name, So if you just see, it's just a name. So a Mumbai-based company called Unique Glass Global India Limited is India's leading integrated glass company engaged in production and delivery of next generation glass products. So we get to know that they are dealing in the production of the glass products and solution to retail and institutional customers. It provides a huge variety of glass products to its customers as per their demand and customization, which makes the company a dominant player. So they are the competent player in the market. The company provides end-to-end solution across the entire value chain in both segments, from manufacturing of float glass to glass processing, fabrication, and installation. This is what their job profile is. The company recently set up a research and development department to capture data about the buying habits and transaction patterns of the customers. For what good reason? Because they wanted to build a trend pattern, thereby leading to building of a big data driven. So they want to compete further. So they have set up a R&D department wherein they are going to capture details about the buying habits of its customers. The top management of company has further received a major supply contract in collaboration with the similar dealing business enterprise TrueLive Glass Limited. Why? Because as the competition is getting increased and they are having a huge clientele with them, they have looped in a third party supplier who is TrueLive Glass Limited. For what reason? That the company may utilize the services of TrueLive Glass Limited as per need basis. So if they are hard pressed and delivery demands are more, they may utilize the services of TrueLive Glass Limited as per the need arises in case high demand occurs from its clients. To make optimal use and quick sharing of data with its supply contract and employees, the company approached at the same time a cloud service provider for storage of its data so that it's not affected anytime with any server failures. So they are relying on a cloud computing service provider also. Now the marketing personnel and salesperson of the company have the access to readily available data anytime, anywhere, and the company pays for the requisite services. So cloud service provider, they are paying them as per the need basis, and the data is available to its personnel, clients all the time 24/7. Now, based on this case scenario, we have certain questions. So we'll just try understanding where and how do we answer them. Just to, we will attempt the questions with you and we would expect you also to answer. So the first question is, the Unique Glass Global India Limited has tied up with TrueLive Glass Limited to consume its services as per need basis. What kind of risk management strategy is this? Now, do you think there is a risk associated? Yes, of course. Why? The risk is that if the demand increases and the company is not able to deliver the products, then in that case, the competition that it has in the market, they will have a tough competition. So for that particular risk, what the Unique Glass Global India Limited has done, that they have already, anticipated this, that this situation may occur. And in those cases, they have already tied up with TrueLive Glass Limited, which are almost in the same business as they are in, but they are the small business. So they will help them as per the need basis. So what kind of a risk management strategy is this? We would like you to answer. If you think you are aware of the answer, kindly post the answer. We will tolerate the risk option, terminate the risk, transfer the risk, and we will treat the risk. So what do you think? As per the name suggests, tolerate the risk. We will tolerate the risk.
Ankit has given the answer. He said answer A.
A. Okay. Ankit has given the answer A. Any further answer? Okay. Now, Ankit, we will just discuss this and then you yourself will say, okay,
transfer the risk.
Transfer the risk. Okay. So first of all, we will see that if this is a topic about risk management strategy, it's the part of chapter 1. Okay. So here we are able to zoom that this is chapter 1 and this you will be able to do only when you would have prepared your checklist. that okay, that risk management strategy was a part of chapter 1, and these are nothing but all the 4 risk management strategies that are there. So one has to have the clear understanding what are these, and there are very minute and beautiful differences between. So once it's tolerate the risk, as the name suggests, that we will tolerate the risk here, or we will accept the risk that okay, this type of a risk, if in case it occurs, then we have that much of buffer that we will be able to accept it, and we don't need to give any attention to such type of a risk. So because these risks are so very minor, Ankit, because you have given the option as A, so we are not here tolerating the risk, rather we are trying to address the risk, because this is a risk which we have already anticipated that this situation may occur, and for that good reason only we have looped in TrueLive. The company has looped in TrueLive. So here, when the company has looped in TrueLive, so that means they are not ready for the acceptance, because it's going to be humongous. The loss would be huge if in case they are not able to meet out the demand. So we accept or tolerate the risk only in case the risk is very minor, or the impact of it is very, very low. Then we will say that okay, probability of occurring of such type of risk is so minimal that if in case, God forbid, anything happens, we are ready for its consequences, right? So option A is not the correct answer. Then we will see terminate or eliminate the risk. What do we have? What do we do in this particular case? That suppose we have a particular infrastructure and we know that it's collapsing. It's collapsing throughout. Okay, it's not giving me the desired result. So what I need to do? I need to upgrade my systems. I need to install new software. So in this particular case, what I am doing, that I am eliminating the risk from its root. That okay, this is a problem and this I am going to cater to. So the best is that suppose the infrastructure support is not there, I'm going to change the infrastructure. I'm going to make it scalable. I'm going to invest the money into it, and then we will eliminate that risk which is there. So we have eliminated that risk. Now transfer or share the risk. Now somebody has given,
Madhu Luthra has given the answer, transfer the risk.
Transfer the risk. In this particular case, we have outsourced. That means now when we are outsourcing a particular thing, that means now it's your problem. I'm not going to interfere. But here the case is not this. Okay, Madhu, the case is not there, because here when we are saying like insurance, the best example we generally give for transfer or share the risk is for the insurance thing. Okay, but then in this particular case, what happens that when we give this particular sharing of the risk, then we share the risk. You are also responsible. I am also responsible. We are the party to it. We are not blaming each other. We will share the risk together. But here the TrueLive Glass Limited is giving its services on the paid basis. Rather, it's not a partner in this particular case, because here the risk factor, who is going to be responsible, who is going to be answerable in the market is the Unique Global, not the TrueLive. Okay. So here, and when we talk about the treat or mitigation the risk, when other options have been eliminated, suitable controls must be devised and implemented to prevent the risk. So it is very much a preventive control, because the company has already anticipated that such type of a risk may occur. And if in the case it will occur, we will treat the risk. And how will we treat the risk? We have already looped in a second party, wherein we will fetch their services and we will get the delivery done, minimize the effect of it.
So now Pandima
Yes.
Garanajan, he has given the right answer.
It's the treat or mitigate the risk. So the correct option here is going to be option number D. Okay.
So, ma'am, sorry, before you go further,
please.
ma'am has given you very well explanation about see how close option are there and how you have to choose whether it's a treating or we are mitigating the risk or we are eliminating the risk. So when you are reading the case scenario, just don't go for the one go click. Just read that point. What kind of the risk is there? First of all, you have to find out the chapter, as ma'am told you in the beginning, that risk management strategy, that means chapter number 1. Then try to have the define of each and every risk, where we can apply them. And then you find out the right answer. Okay, it's not the eliminating or it's not, you can say transfer the risk. We are mitigating the risk by taking the help of the other party over here to minimize its effect.
That's true. right? So generally students do get confused between transfer and trade, because here the third party is involved. Here also third party is involved, here also. But then here they are answerable. But here it's like supporting. And when we are saying that we are mitigating the risk, so that means a risk has to happen first, or there is a anticipation of a risk happening, and in that particular case we are going to already have a plan that how do we mitigate that risk. Now the second is, which technique has been adopted by the research and development department of Unique Glass Global India Limited. Now if you see, if we go back to the question, that the R&D department has been established to capture the data about the buying habits and transaction patterns of the customers to build a trend pattern, thereby leading to building of a big data driven marketing strategy. Because once they get to build a trend pattern, then they are going to formulate their marketing strategy for that. So if we see to this, now the options here we have. Now, where are these particular topics discussed? They are a part of page 2. So another question, but it's based on a different chapter. The initial first one was based on chapter 1. This is on page 2. So here if we see, obviously we can rule out these two possibilities because they are the emerging technologies, so they cannot be. Now you have a difference between these, data mining and predictive analysis. Data mining involves sorting through large data sets to identify trends, patterns and relationships. Whereas predictive analysis, which seeks to predict customer behavior, equipment failures and other future events. So in this particular case, as per the definition suggests, we are going to give the answer as data mining, which is a part of chapter 2. It's there on page number 2.63.
Madhu has given the answer, predictive analysis. I guess Madhu, ma'am has explained you why it's a data mining.
Now the question number 3. In case Truelip Glass Limited fails to protect, suppose what happens that the party that they have looped in, if some data gets lost or they are not able to protect the data of Unique Glass India Limited, which of the following section of IT Act 2000 deals with its compensation? Which section would be applicable to Truelip so that the compensation can be made? Now here we have these sections. One has to be aware about what these sections are all about. Generally, one is not required to write the section as it is verbatim, but one has to have an understanding, one has to know that which particular section deals with what kind of
a brief summary is given in the study material. So you can have a quick refer for that.
Yes. It's there. It's a part of chapter 1, wherein we have just given the listing of the sections, and then we have chapter 5 also. So the reference of these sections are available in both the chapters. So here if we see in chapter 5, page 5.67, we have these key provisions of ICAI. And here once we are aware about what section relates to what particular offense, then in that particular case, we will be very much able to find out that section 43A, compensation for failure to protect data, would be the correct answer. So here the answer would be section 43.
Ankit has given the right answer. The answer is very right.
Yeah. Now question number 4. The Google Cloud frees the Unique Glass Global India Limited from the issues pertaining to failure of server and storage resources. Which of the following characteristics of cloud computing does it represent? So when the cloud computing, we are aware it's part of chapter 4. And then you will have to have a thorough understanding about these technical terms. What are these? Because the options are so very close that there are chances that you will get confused. We should be knowing virtualization is altogether a different concept, which is at the server level. Reliability, when we say we know that information systems we are going to use, they should give us the reliable and desired output. So we should be able to rely on what output are we getting. Then resiliency, when any failure of the server happens, as a user, I should not be bothered, because when I am paying to a cloud service provider, I am not bothered about what kind of failures are happening at their end. To me, it should be a seamless access to the resources I am wishing to get from the cloud service provider. And then the scalability. Scalability again is that what all do we have? The resources that we have, are we able to use them and upgrade on those lines only, or we have to remove the entire infrastructure and build up a new thing. So scalability would be how much we are able to use the existing resources and build up the upgradation on it. So clearly we are able to get the answer that the answer going to be resilience in this particular case. You can always fetch or refer to page number 4.69 to get these definitions. Then the things will be more clear. We have just here captured the definitions, and here the resiliency of a cloud service offering can completely isolate the failure of server and storage resources from cloud users, because they are not bothered about what kind of a failure is happening. Work is migrated to a different physical resource in the cloud at the back end without the awareness of user and his intervention. Okay. Now we have certain independent questions. And would you like to take?
So now we'll take some independent question, because as ma'am explained in the beginning that you have one integrated case scenario on basis of which you have 5 questions, and then 5 questions you will get independent, each from one chapter. Now the first question says, a manufacturing company is facing an issue of not being able to provide timely supply of its product to the customer. Mr. Anil, who is IS auditor of the company, identified that this delay is due to the manual processing of the certain processes involved in the company. He suggested that company should adopt dash to overcome this problem. So now you have to fill up this dash options that you have. It's a core banking system, strategic level, business process, and expert system. Now, this one point when you solve an MCQ, I would suggest that you can easily rule out the options which you find is irrelevant, because here in this question you can see it's a manufacturing company. Now it is dealing with getting delay in certain process due to manual processing. Now what you can say technology the company should adopt. So if you see, the very first is your core banking system, which you can rule out, not belong to this question. Same is that expert system, because no use of AI over here. Now the option you have left over is the strategic level in the business process automation. When you see business process automation is also a strategic level decision that is taken by the top management. But when you see as a technology, the business process automation, you can find out in the benefits of the business process automation, which is given in the study material in the table 1.31. It says it reduces the task, number of the tasks that employee need to do manually. So it frees up the time and speeden up the process. So the right option would be the automated business process, option number C. So Ankit has given the right answer.
Good. Ankit has been participating very actively. Very nice, Ankit. That's good.
So coming to the next question. To avoid any discrepancy in the salary-based calculation, the number of working days of each employee, a company has implemented biometric attendance system for its working environment. Which of the following control is applied by the company in this case? You have read about the 3 types of the control: preventive, detective, and corrective.
And one has to see, ma'am, sorry, that it's from chapter 3. So you see that the questions are from different chapters. Anything, ma'am has already mentioned that you will have to shift your focus from chapter to chapter
wise.
That this is chapter 1. Oh, then now chapter 3. And you will be able to see only when you are thorough with the topics that are covered in nature.
And because once you are thorough with the subject, then you know that, okay, this topic is relevant or this topic is irrelevant.
Yes.
Like we have done in the previous question. Here you can see manual control is a ruled out option. Now we have preventive, detective, and corrective. As in the beginning, ma'am said you have to put a tick. Tick doesn't mean that, okay, you have read the topic.
Yes.
You have to have an understanding. What is the exact definition? What does topic mean out? So if you see preventive, detective, and corrective control, preventive control itself says that there is a prevention of the error, omission, or any incidents from the occurring. Detective and corrective means say some risk or something has happened, then you have taken some corrective measures on the basis of that. Now here you can see the company has implemented biometric attendance system. So they have taken a step before any error occurs. Because if you are entering the manual system, there may be error, not signed, coming late, putting up the wrong time. So they have already taken a prevention measure so that there would be no any, you can say, mishap or the occurrence within a company. So the right option would be the option A, that preventive control.
Best is, ma'am, like in the health industry also, if we start taking the supplements, that's a preventive thing that, okay, I'm already taking supplements. But when we go for some blood tests and there is certain deficiency,
That
so
becomes
it's the detective control. And then how do we correct it? Now, after the detection of the problem, I have started taking the supplement. So now the same thing which I was taking beforehand without detection, now I am taking after the detection. So taking the supplements would then now become the corrective control.
Ankit and Padima, you both have the right answer. That is preventive control.
That's nice.
Okay. Now the next question. Following the information with respect to telecommunication sector is stored somewhere in database management system. The information related to monthly bill details, call records, minimum balance, etc. The information regarding the product promotion, decision related to sales, cashback offer, etc. Third says the information analyzed by using different techniques to find out call duration with respect to the particular age group from the entire data available. The relevant term for their appropriate storage could be any of the following. So the option is given data warehouse, data mining, and data. So what you have to do, you have to choose a correct match where the database stays with the definition of 1, 2, and 3, where the data mining is information regarding the product promotion. So where you can fit out. Now here your thorough understanding of the chapter helps you out the definition. As ma'am has given you the example, say if I fell ill and I'm checking for the doctor, some tests are done, then taking the medicine. So in the same way, you can have the example, keep in your mind to have the definition and a clear-cut understanding of a particular topic. So
shall we give 5 seconds, 10 seconds? So we have, zoomed in, minimized the screen size so that you can have a clear picture of what all informations are and where would they be placed in the DBMS. It's very much discussed in the study material. So just think about the chapter, then think about the answer. We'll just wait for 10 seconds.
Actually, when
the information which is analyzed, the information related to monthly bill. So what is the daily operation thing? What are the monthly things? And where would they be captured? One has to think on those lines.
Always remember that you have to learn through example also.
Yes.
If you are finding the topic difficult, then you have only two options. One is the keywords that are there in the topic. Second is the example.
Yes.
In the study material, examples are given over there. So Ankit, again, you deserve an e-chocolate over here. Very well done. Answer is right. Okay. Option number C. So if you see that data warehouse, I would like to explain.
Okay.
So option number C says data warehouse, data mining, and database. So if I go with the first, that says related to the monthly bills detail, call records, minimum balance. So this is basically definition of the database. And then we have the information regarding the product promotion, cash, and you can say sales. So it is on the regular work that you have to do, but it's required the data of your accounts, your sales department, I guess the marketing department. So higher than that, that becomes a data warehouse. Now, as ma'am has given you the hint by highlighting the analyzed keyword. So she has highlighted this keyword for you. Whenever there is analysis, so that understood that it comes to the data mining. So option number C is the right answer.
So here the definitions
are given over
there.
Ma'am has
just explained you all. Right.
So the next question is, in core banking environment, which of the following is not a task of back office operation under the bank treasury operation? So there is a list of certain operations that they have given, like involved in the several number of the reconciliation process, monitoring of the counterparty dealer, market related limits, verification of the process, confirmation, settlement, existence of the valid account, and the segregation of duty. Now, very first you can see core banking system, that means chapter number 5. Under the chapter number 5, there is a bank treasury operation is there. Then you have the back office operation. We know that in the case of the core banking system, we have the front office operation, back office operation, and both are controlled by the central server, right? So there are certain options given over here. So you have to find out which of the following is not a task. When it comes not a task, if you are understanding the topic of the bank treasury operation, you can find, okay, these are the questions that comes over there and what are, you can say, not performed by the bank treasury operations. So I guess students have given the answer. Akash has given the answer C and Panima has given the answer A. Okay. Let's see what is the answer. Answer is from the page number 5.49. So you can see that in your study material, we have given certain diagrams. So that is for your help. So by having a by looking at the diagram, you can find out the complete understanding of the topic. You can just have a quick review through the diagram. So here you can see this is a diagram that we have taken from the page number 5.69. So here it is explaining all the options what treasury operation do. Reconciliation is there, confirmation is there, securities and fund settlements are there. And when we explain this, it's written that segregation of duty is also a part of the bank operation. So the right of it is not working or monitoring of the counterparty, dealer and market related the risk. Next. The next question comes. A cooperative bank established in year 2011 has a huge corpus. The bank decides to buy the share of US-based housing group. Which type of the risk is involved in the company buys the share at a time the foreign exchange rates are very frequent. So there are certain risks. Again, bank is there. So from the chapter number 5. In the chapter number 5, there are certain risks that are related to the core banking system is given, operation, credit, market and strategic risk. So you have to have an understanding what are the operational risks, what are the credit risks, what are the market risks and what are the strategic risks that relate to the core banking system. So we got the answer, I guess is from this question also. No, it's from the question number 4. So shall we wait for a few seconds?
Okay.
So there's a minor difference. See just the keyword over there. What in that case the company buys the share and at the time of the foreign exchange rate varies. The company is ready to buy the share of particular housing group based on the US, but suddenly there's an exchange rate varies. So what kind of the risk is there? It's a clearly indication from the second line. So I'll give the answer. The answer would be the market risk because you see that because due to change in the equity price, interest rate, or the foreign exchange rate, once there's a reduction in the share price, so there would be huge loss in the most equity investment that is done by any of the company or the bank. So second line gives a clear-cut indication that company is ready to buy the US share and the market rate is changed. So the risk would be the market risk. So let's have some tips for the descriptive question because
MCQ we have discussed quite a lot in large. Yeah. So now descriptive questions also hold 35 marks. So here we'll not be going in much detail, keeping the paucity of time in mind, but we will be discussing some of the very, very crucial and critical tips that you need to understand and need to focus on. So when you will be appearing for your MTP2, do give them a good understanding and then try appearing attempting those questions using these tips in mind. It will help you.
And try to check, be a critical examiner.
Yes.
Not examiner, but of yourself.
Yes. Because we are doing it just because wherever the gap is, you should be able to bridge that gap. Don't think that if I am not able to perform good in my MTP1 or MTP2, that means my level of preparation is not good. That's not the case. Rather, it's there and you are just, self-analyzing your situation, self-analyzing your preparedness and whatever little gaps are there, because getting 85% is fine, but 85 to 95%, those small things, because conceptually you are very thorough, but just to bridge that gap is crucial. And these MTPs and these tips will help you in those. Yes.
So for the tips of the descriptive question, the very first is practice the question through writing. As ma'am rightly said, we have given the RTP, we have given the MTP. Now MTP2 is about to come starting from October 3rd. So you have to write the question and try to write it completely as if you are giving your examination. It's a 6-mark question. How much you have to write? It's a 4-mark question. How much you have to write? What you can see the keyword you have missed, what heading you have missed. So you have to practice more and more through writing. Right? The second is that you have to write the answer according to requirement of the question. what is asked in the question need to be captured in the answer. As in the beginning, ma'am, I have given you the example of the virtualization. Suppose a question of your choice or the topic that you have prepared very good. It comes in, say, the 3 marks. So you start writing, okay, I'll do everything and I'll write 2 or 3 pages. So examiner won't give you the 6 marks into that.
But if a question is of 6 months and student is giving only 3 there,
Three.
so it doesn't commensurate with the requirement of the question. So you and in ma'am, there are few topics in the study material wherein given lot of description, lot of explanation, but then you are not supposed to write everything which is there in the study material. So when you have to actually produce or generate the answer in the examination, you have to apply your mind smartly. That if it's of 6 marks, I need to put 6 points, but those points should be relevant. And it's not that I'm simply putting up the headings and I'm not giving any explanation. So prepare accordingly. Suppose there are 10 to 12 points in the study material. Prepare 7 to 8. Best fit in 7 to 8.
Yes.
Right?
This is, you can say, the practice of the writing, through writing. So the next is write specific answer with no compromise on the technical. You know that it's a technical paper. Technical means it's a completely technology-based paper. So you cannot compromise anything writing the keywords. So you have to write the technical keywords belong to that particular answer of that question. It doesn't mean that you have only written the heading. Okay, you are free to explain in your own, you can say, words, but you cannot compromise on the technical words over there. We'll do practice and we'll share some points over here in the form of the questions. So what are the keywords that in a particular answer that you have to mention over there? So the next is sequence of steps is required to be maintained while answering or the process or the cycle based question. As I'm giving the indication, suppose there are 12 points and the question maximum comes for the 6 mark question. So you can prepare 7 to 8 points. But suppose a question comes which is a cycle based question or the process based question. That process itself has 8 steps. So you have to write all that 8 steps and that too in the sequence. You cannot skip. Like in your first question, it says the process of implementation of the business process automation in chapter number 1. That process has 8 steps. If the question comes in the 6 marks, you cannot skip.
You will have to write
all the 8 points over there.
Yes.
And even if it's some processing is there, like software development cycle is there, then again you have to write all the steps over there. Next, the question is write in bullet points instead of paragraph. See, it's you will also like to read in the bullet points what are the headings you given over there, writing the complete summary in the paragraph. You yourself may skip some point over there. So it's better writing the technical keywords as well as a beautification of your paper. This adds certain beautification to your paper. So this give a relaxation and a good betterment of the
better readability is there. And then obviously you are writing in paragraph. Suppose you have given 7 to 8 interesting points, but then if they are not readable, then obviously marks allocation would be a problem.
Sometimes you also forget what point you have written. When you have the 7 points in your mind, you just make a bullet, numbering yourself ABC or bullet, just start and then you can start writing. The next point says, do not just write
very important
heading. All the headings, points need to be elaborated according to the marks allocated. This is the question that we generally have. Once your result is out.
Yes.
मैम मैंने सारा लिखा था, मुझे नंबर नहीं दिए गए, मैम मेरा ये ठीक था, मैंने 8 heading लिखी. This is the question that generally we face. Because what happens, like question asks explain or discuss. So then you have to explain and discuss. I'm taking again the example of your process of business process automation. So that has 8 steps. There are certain steps that are explained quite in say 2 or 3 paragraphs. You're not supposed to write all the 2 or 3 paragraphs, but at least with the heading you can give the 2 lines so that examiner would understand what is in your mind, what you have given. So you have to have the headings as well as the elaborate according to the master.
So prepare accordingly. That's what most of the time students say, ma'am, hui nahi raha, it's so lengthy. But suppose the book is of say 500 pages, but you don't have to remember all the 5. Conceptual clarity you have to have, but then from examination point of view, you will have to remember only that much to which the question requirement is. And then in that case, you know that the maximum allocation to a particular question is of 6 marks. So you don't need to go in detail and preparing all the 15 points that are there in the study material. But at the same time, you have to make the understanding, or you have to produce the answers in such a way that they are highlighting the important features of that particular topic. Like if you grid computing, it's a computing technology. It's a valid answer, but does that make any reflection of what the grid computing is all about? So you'll have to give in the answer the specific characteristics that belong to that particular topic. Okay, and then write the explanation accordingly.
Because in your study material, if you see, there are so many examples given over there to make understanding you about the topic. So that doesn't mean that without explaining or writing anything about the topic and you start giving the example. Example is the support.
Yes.
To your answer. But that is not an answer.
That's not the answer. That's true.
Ma'am has given the example of the virtualization or the grid computing. Suppose you are giving, okay, pharma companies using grid computing. So that is an example for to support your answer. But you have to explain.
And most of the time when we are understanding, when you are taking coaching, or the teachers also when they are teaching, they do take certain examples which are just to make you understand, but quoting them in the examination without giving its proper explanation will not get good marks for you. So you may say so that we have understood this way only. That's fine. For your understanding, that's okay. But when it comes to writing, you'll have to have the technical words. You can fiddle with those words. You don't have to produce the verbatim what's there in the study mat. But at the same time, that should make sense also.
Ma'am has very rightly said that maximum marks that you get is 6 marks.
6 marks.
So prepare accordingly. No question would come more than 6 marks.
Yes.
So you have to write that, okay, so 6 mark question, how much I have to write, what point I need to write, what are the keywords, what are the highlighted points over there. Mark, it's in your book. Prepare a flowchart for the same, write the bullet point for the same, and prepare accordingly to write the answer. Okay, now, this is a question. It says ABC University has installed a specific student database management system named EduSupport, which is a simple to operate online web-based application designed to maintain, manage records and data of the students. List down the various advantages that EduSupport DBMS would provide to the university in handling its record. Now it says list down the various advantages. So you have to list down all the advantages. The question is from your MTP, which is given over there. It belongs to chapter number 3. So here you have to explain all the advantages which EduSupport has to give. Because when we are writing over, say, heading, permitting the database, minimizing the redundancy, integrated to be maintained, doesn't solve the purpose. Because it's a 6 mark question, so at least 1 or 2 points in each under subheading you have to give. Like if you talk about the minimizing data redundancy, it means there would be no duplication, no redundancy. If there is, it would be eliminated. So it is mentioning over there, highlighted over in this point. So for this point, this is a keyword. For each and every heading, you have to give the key points for under each and every heading.
Now, ma'am, it's here. What we are trying to make a point is that it's of 6 marks. So for you to get good 6 marks, you need to produce only 6. Though we have given here all the 8 points. So any of 6 out of these 8 will help you, will get good marks for you. But then just simply writing 8 headings with no explanation will get to 2 marks. Because it doesn't serve any purpose. So you will have to see according to the requirement, what is it. So you will have to prepare both the ways. So such a question, if it comes as an MCQ, it may so happen that they may give any of these 3 and then one they will give as anything.
Disadvantage.
Disadvantage, best is. And then they will say pick up the
advantage of the
odd one out, or which of the following is not an advantage of DBMS. So you will have to prepare both the ways. If it comes as a descriptive question, you should be able to produce the answer. If it comes just as a mention of the headings, then also you should be able to distinguish.
So there are 2 points. Like 8 points are given. You should remember all the 8 points. You can produce 6 points while describing your description answer, but 8 points should be kept in mind to solve your MCQ part.
Yes. Now, keeping paucity in mind, of time in mind, we will just discuss 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll give a quick recapitulation of what all we have discussed in our session. So another question that we have is, data is a unique resource for any organization and is very often susceptible to disruption, damage and theft. One such possibility of attack that could occur is during the transmission of data across telecommunication lines. Now here, Identify such attack and discuss its types. This question is of 6 marks, which is 2 plus 4. So here if you see, it has two demands. The question requires you to firstly identify the attack. What type of an attack? That occurs during the transmission of data across the telecommunication lines. And once you identify the attack, then only you will be discussing its types. Now here the problem would be that if the identification is wrong, whole of the answer goes wrong. So it's been given a good amount of weightage, which is 2. So 2 marks given only for the identification. Now, if you know that the type of attacks which have happened in the data, we have discussed that all in chapter number 1. So you will zero down that, okay, it's from chapter 1. Then you think that, okay, what type of an attack is when it's occurring during the transmission of data during the telecommunication line. So such an attack, very well defined in the study material, are known as asynchronous. And these attacks make use of the timing difference between the time when the data is inputted to the system, because when the data gets inputted in the system and by the time it's transmitted, in between that time duration, most of the attacks happen. So this is the attack which is talking about that type of attack only. And then we will discuss its 4 types. Now here, as the study material has covered only 4 types, so you will have to mention all the 4. But if the question would have been, say, 4 marks, 2 plus 2, then you would have given 2 marks. They would have given you for asynchronous attacks. You should have given some kind of an explanation for asynchronous and any of these 2, because they have the coverage of only 2 marks. So write the answers accordingly. We have been emphasizing it will save your time, your energy, and of course, during the preparation also, not only while giving the answers in the exam. You will not waste unnecessarily your time, and examination purpose also you will not, because maximum coverage for any particular question is 6 months.
Give yourself sufficient time
to
find out what type of attack is there, because second part depends on the first part
only. And if that goes wrong, then almost everything goes wrong. So one has to be very, very thorough. Now, we have discussed certain questions based on MCQs and certain questions based on descriptive also. And we think that if you will just see it as a bird eye view, if you just see through your syllabus, you will see that there are not much of the requirement. But the major problem for this particular subject is that they leave the subject to the last. They don't study it thoroughly. They don't do it at the right time. Whereas now it's not the time for me to tell you that you do the subject this way or that way, because by this time you might have completed your preparation. But keep the subject alive every day. Every day you will have to devote some time to the study material, some topics you keep on revising. Maybe today I will pick up 3-4 topics of chapter this, then another 3-4 chapters, topics of chapter this, so that you are in touch, because it's something which is technical. And these are the topics which you are not reading throughout the day. Like taxation, you are very well aware of. You've been studying it throughout in your curriculum. Then you know very well about the accountancy. So they are the in subjects per se. But this is also a very important subject, and it's the requirement of the time ahead. If you will not
study the beautification of this subject, that is a technical that you see in your surrounding also. You see this cloud computing, mobile computing. You can see it on a daily life also. And there are so many examples given over there. Once you understand it, just I would say that just read the book at least once. Then you will understand, you'll start generating interest into that.
Which is very, very important, because otherwise you will land up into trouble. You will concentrate more on descriptive, then you will either you will go on descriptive part, but at the same time you will have to have the MCQs also. And then Kiran Shukla had initially had asked one question: grid computing and money laundering. This is the MTP question.
I guess she get confused because I'll explain over here. It's written.
Kiran, if you would have been more specific about what kind of a problem do you have in grid computing, because generally I can just if you just want to have a overview, we can say that grid computing, suppose there are certain resources which are staying idle. Suppose in a particular office we have say 15 systems, and at a particular time we are using maximum say 7 or 8, and 7 or 8 systems are staying idle. So infrastructure wise we have invested good lot of money, and those systems are there, and rather not using them would make them idle and would them ultimately make them ineffective. So what the concept of grid computing is, that we use those idle resources in combination such a way that we are using those particular idle resources to solve a particular complex problem. So those particular resources might be spread all over globe. So my machine, I work till say 9 to 9 in a day. So after 9 o'clock my machine is idle. So my machine would get used during that idle time. Similarly, another person's machine might get used in another some idle time. So when these resources from different areas are utilized in such a way that they are we are able to use them to solve complex problems. That is the basic concept behind the grid computing. And then eventually the discussion on those and the grid computing from a user's perspective or from a business provider perspective. So those are discussed in detail. Still you have certain more queries which is more specific. We would appreciate that if you have certain that in mind, then you discuss those particular, you can send those queries to us at the email ID eis-inter@icai.in. So it is our email ID. You can reach out to us through this email ID, and you can send your queries to us, and we will try giving you the answer. At times it may so happen that we may share our landline number also, which is 0120-3045-939.
I guess Kiran get confused because in your MTP we have given that as a bulleted point. So when you see in the study material, it's given in the 2 or 3 paragraphs, as we have given while you are explaining your answer in the descriptive. Try to give the bullet point. So we have taken those points and given the answer, explaining the benefits of the grid computing over there in the bullet points over there. So that gives the increase the readability of the questions.
Right. So here, this is the phone number. You can reach out to us through this also, but the best would be that if you post your queries to this and then expect it to be answered within 3 to 4 working days, we'll be more than happy to answer your queries. Now,
Ankit is giving thank you.
Okay, Ankit, and all the very best to all of you from our side. We were here to discuss certain last moment tips that you need to keep in mind while giving the answer, because they are not very we have not given you or told you something new which you are not very aware of. But generally it happens that when we prepare technically, we may skip on certain very important but small things. So one has to keep all these in mind, and all the very best
for your examination.
Yeah, and we wish that you pass with the flying colors. Yes, and this is the last attempt of EIS.
Yes.
So try giving best to it, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. हो गया ना सेशन ओवर? ओके ओके, थैंक यू.
दो चार बच्चे
दोबारा करना है? हाँ.